We talk about movies, we talk about games, we talk about anime and other stuff. So thanks for joining us this week. We are Passion for the Geek. All right, welcome to Passion for the Geek. This is our first podcast in I don't know, 4 or 5 months, right? You guys?
Yeah, something like that. I think the last time we did it was in July or August, something like that.
Super long time ago. But anyway, the intro, Passion for the Geek, where we talk anything and everything geek. You know, movies, games, anime, manga, anything that anybody can geek over. We'd like to talk about it. We won't say that we're professionals at it, but we are fans, rabid fans of them. And today we will be talking about The Last Jedi. Quite a bit late to the party, but I mean, hey, we just want to talk about it, right?
Better late than never, usually.
All right.
Yeah, we just wanted to give our fans some time to mull over
and
everything
digest it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, and just a warning: this is very spoiler heavy. So spoiler alert right at the beginning. Yeah, so what are your guys' initial thoughts on, without diving too deep, so we can get into it later, what's your initial thoughts on The Last Jedi?
Ellie, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, just going in, I was super excited for it because basically it's like a sequel to The Force Awakens, obviously, which was a huge return for the series after so many years, and that kicked off this new trilogy pretty well. Kind of just laying the groundwork, kind of a little safely, I thought, with the first one, because it kind of felt like a retread of like the original Star Wars, to me at least. And then so I was excited for this one to see if they could really do something different with the series.
Oh boy, dude, did they ever?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, the Force Awakens was really safe, but I mean it's owned by Disney now, and to me it's safe, but I liked it. I enjoyed the Force Awakens. It's something that it's a crowd pleaser,
Yeah, definitely. And when you're gonna bring something back after that long, I mean, it's always really more advantageous, I would say, to start it off like slow. Like, you don't have to take everything fast and kind of mess it up. I thought the Force Awakens, what it really did was put pieces into place, and it set up the trilogy for success, is what I thought that it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about The Last Jedi, and then
Yeah.
So continue, Elliot, as you were saying, with the Last Jedi.
Sorry, are we just gonna say what
Just
we thought
your
overall?
beginning thoughts. Like, I mean, for me, I thought it was a pretty good movie. As a movie, there's a lot of things I did not like, as we will, discuss later on. But yeah, as a movie, it was pretty good. As a Star Wars movie and what I was expecting, to me, it was a little disappointing. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, overall, it's a pretty great movie, but very nitpicky about certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, it did feel, it kind of had that Dragon Ball evolution type feel, where it was a good movie, like what Justin said, but attaching the Star Wars name to it felt a little forced, I guess. I mean, honestly, it kind of felt like a side movie more than a not, but maybe that's just me.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, yeah, I was kind of excited to talk with you guys about it, because I had a feeling had pretty differing thoughts from you guys because for me, that this might have been like one of my favorite Star Wars films, like in the whole saga.
Damn.
So
Oh yeah, it looks like we'll have a lot to talk about, so that's good.
Yeah.
yeah,
At the very least, though, it currently sits at $1 billion, just
Yeah,
over. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think you said, Elliot, earlier that before we started recording, that was just after New Year's, right? That happened. It seems.
yeah, yeah.
And then,
Just before the ball dropped, I guess
hmm
Oh
they
damn.
passed $1 billion, and then they passed domestically. They got the number one spot over Beauty and the Beast. So it's
Oh
like
man, that's
yeah.
crazy.
yeah, I mean, but with the, I think so. Apparently had the biggest drop off. Well, not the biggest, but a pretty bad drop off from the opening week into the second week, which is a 67.5%. It seems like, which is almost as bad as Batman vs Superman, which was at about 69%, and then Suicide Squad had like roughly the same 67 something percent, and I think that has to deal with a lot of the rift and controversy between the movie and hardcore Star Wars fans.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, but
I feel like
let's.
that happens with like divisive movies, right? If like a lot of people love it and a lot of people don't, then like they're gonna be talking back and
Mhm.
forth and
Well, I mean, I think that's gonna happen. Yeah, also with anything that's continuing something that's or adapting something that's you know loved by many, especially in a hardcore way like Star Wars. And yeah. So
I
yeah, I guess let's just get into it. What did you specifically like then, Elliot, about it? Like, what was your favorite part, I guess, in the movie?
Well, I mean, uh, probably what impressed me the most was just how it kind of subverted all the expectations
Mm-hmm.
going in, because like you were saying, Josh, how the first film kind of set up everything like, oh, like Ray's parents is going to be or is probably going to be something special, and then uh, like Snoke is going to be um, like this, or basically like the emperor or whatever, and then um, so basically uh, like at those points in the story, it kind of just like flipped the script on you, and just went in like a exciting direction, I thought, um, than what I thought it was going to do. So that was cool in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's like one of the gripes I have. Like, I don't get me wrong. For me, I think it's a great creative idea that he went in a different direction. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, it seemed like he was doing it for the sake of, you know, putting people in a different direction. It seemed like he was not necessarily a middle finger to like the Star Wars fans, but it seemed like he did it not for. This is just my opinion, you know. It seemed like he didn't do it for the sake of the franchise itself, but just for the sake of, you know, like you said, just subverting it from your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's
yeah.
just like to me, there's just way too many. I don't know if it's twists, but just yeah, way too many. What bait and switches,
Mhm.
and it was just for me, it's kind of muddling the movie. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I agree with Elliot that not doing what's expected, like what everyone expected, is very exciting. You know, and the first time it happened, the first like twist in the movie, I thought was really cool. The second and third, was still with it, and then it just kept going and going with twists. And by the end of it, it just didn't surprise me. Like,
What a twist!
yeah, exactly, a bunch of aerial twists.
Ah,
But
in space.
yeah, but I mean, like I agree with Elliot. Like having those subversion of expectations was really exciting, but I think he might have just overdone it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like I
Yeah.
get that, you know, it's the big one is one of the big ones is Ray's parents being nobodies, which I'm fine
Mm-hmm.
with that. But
Yeah.
I think Kathleen Kennedy said that they're still going to continue the, George somewhat continue George Lucas's view that the original or the mainline stories of Star Wars are going to be about the Skywalkers. And
Mhm.
so, like, the first one, the first or the first in the new trilogy was supposed to set it up, and they made it seem as if Rey is going to be somebody important,
Mhm.
or at least tied with the Skywalker name. And I mean, I guess it could still technically be about the Skywalkers through, Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, but
Mhm.
I just wish they didn't build up, Rey being, it's seeming as if Rey is going to be related to them, and then just like go, oh no, she's nobody. Because I'm fine with her being a nobody. That just means that,
Mhm.
it opens up the door that, anybody could be a Jedi, which is what they did in the prequel trilogies. It's or even in the extended, what is it, Legends now.
Yeah.
It's not canon anymore, but they're bringing in orphans and people who to become Jedi. So
Mhm.
you just
Yeah,
have to be
that's
force sensitive. That's it. You didn't have to have a special bloodline, which I'm cool with, like I said. But I wish they didn't build it up so much and then just like literally just throw it out the window.
Mm.
mm. Yeah, because I think that was definitely the main theme of this movie was basically the Force is open to like everything, like all
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
creatures in the universe, and like anybody could really be a Jedi. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, it's just the Skywalkers that are special and get all
Mm.
these powers. Like the Jedi and the Sith, like
Mm-hmm.
are the only ones that have the Force in them. So I thought that was a really exciting direction to take.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like just in the the title of the first movie is called The Force Awakens, so that kind of like sets that up how the Force is, um, just like
Mm-hmm.
awakening across the universe, and more people aside from just the Skywalkers can
Sure.
finally
Actually,
like
yeah.
have this power.
Yeah, which like I said, I'm
I can see that a
fine
lot.
with. That's cool. I would rather them have it that way, but for it to be a main Star Wars film, like I said, it's this is like expectations going in. It's
Mhm.
supposed to be about the Skywalkers. That's where my gripe is. It's not with the fact that he's making it as if no, not in that power doesn't only belong to the Skywalkers. Like I said, I'm fine with that. It's just the main movies of Star Wars are supposed to be about the Skywalkers. So if the focus was really heavily on Kylo Ren, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. I mean, I get that Ren is or not Ren, Rey is supposed to be the new protagonist and everything. It's just
Mhm.
you know the whole Skywalker thing. You wait what 20 was it 20 years 40 years I guess now, from the original trilogy to continue that line.
Mhm.
That whole what's the word I'm looking for, like ancestry or continuation of that lineage, and then you
Right.
get something about another girl, and then isn't that what the new trilogy that Ryan Johnson is going to direct supposed to be about? You know what I mean?
Uh,
So
yeah, I think his new trilogy is just is going probably going to go further into just his own
mm-hmm.
ideas. Maybe just taking a little bit here and there from other like past
Yeah.
uh, legend stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah, so I mean,
which
that would be the place to me to explore, or have the main theme of be anybody, be a Jedi.
Mm.
mhm,
That would be where to explore it, not in the main stories or the main movies. That's
yeah, I
just
can see
me.
that.
That's just me,
Yeah.
because I'm one of those
Mhm.
people who likes to look into like lore like before I watch stuff a lot of times. And then it's just like, oh man, I can't wait to see Luke Skywalker, or see his what is it, relatives, like just be freaking awesome as shit. Which Ben, Kylo Ren and Rey had that really cool like duel, or what is it, fight with those guards,
Oh, with the
Yeah.
Snoke's guards. Yeah.
Praetorian guards or whatever. I don't remember what they're called. That was really freaking badass.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was really
And you
cool.
could see like how freaking powerful like Kylo Ren is, and
Yeah.
but that was like it, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
At
What,
least
what
when it
about you,
comes to
Josh?
like force stuff and lightsabers. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like the action scenes in this. I thought were pretty good. The scenes with any of like the TIE fighters and things like that, all that was really cool. I mean, I would agree with Justin. You know, there are a lot of twists and that made it a little too convoluted, almost like Kingdom Hearts style convoluted. Um, but I mean, it's weird. I agree with both of your guys' points. Um, I'm more on the side that they. I didn't like the movie as much as most people probably did. Um, but then, listening to your points, Elliot, about having the Force Awakens be open to like having anyone be open to the Force and be able to become powerful with the Force is definitely a key part of this trilogy. It seems like, and I think honestly that started with Qui-Gon Jinn in the original trilogy because his philosophy about the Force was, uh, don't always look to the future, like live in the present, and it does seem like that's kind of what they're trying to get into this movie, The Last Jedi. And I mean, I can see where my mind, while I was watching the movie, was looking to the future, and I didn't look at it now. I mean, I'll watch it again, and I'll probably think it's a little bit better than the first time I watched it. But just going through all the twists, just it really twisted my mind into like I was able to follow everything, and at some point,
Yeah.
it just everything became predictable, is what I'm saying, and like I just didn't really like that as much as something more straightforward. But again, I'm not against all these twists. It's just doing them so frequently, all obviously lessens
The impact.
the effect. Yeah, the impact, right?
one twist I did actually enjoy is, or I don't know if it's a twist, but when they failed to get the shield down or whatever, so that they could mess with their was it warp speed locator. I like that because that's a good opposite of to what you would think, especially in this
Exactly.
kind of movie. That was, to me, was good, but everything else just seemed a little
Just one too many
yeah,
twists.
Yeah.
what is it,
One too many, too obvious, and things
too
like that.
large of a leap of logic, right?
Yeah.
Is that the thing that people say?
No, yeah.
Everything
And
else
like,
but for that one seems
Yeah.
really probable,
yeah,
know?
and that's like it's really cool because you are so used to seeing the good guys win, right?
Mhm.
And at least for me, in the past couple of years, I've been really getting into anti-heroes and things like that, and uh, just seeing things from the villain's point of view. And so, honestly, that was pretty cool. I would agree. That was awesome. Like some of the twists were definitely warranted. They were pulled off really well, and they were very, like Justin said, logical. So it was really cool. Cool to see that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going back to what I was saying about, I guess the main theme, because it seemed like the director for this one was kind of, it seemed like it was paralleling it to like religion, because like how the Luke's island was full of like those little nun creatures and stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
and like they had like those old books about the Jedi and stuff, which is kind of a parallel to like the Old Testament and stuff like that. So basically, like he's trying to just end like this religion, I guess, of Sith and Jedi, and just opening it up to everyone, because he sees how flawed like their way of thinking is, because like the Jedi just keeps leading to more Sith and evil. So he's trying to find the balance in the Force, instead of it just being black and white, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of my takeaway from the film, which I thought was a pretty brave direction to take a Star Wars film.
I mean, yeah, I like that too because that also opens up the possibility for what I think is known as like gray Jedi or gray
Mm-hmm.
Force users. In the current animation Star Wars, there's a race who actually lives in between the light and the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Rebels, I forgot what they're called. Um, yeah, but they're not absolute light like the Jedi, and they're not absolute dark like the Sith.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's that. I also like that direction of that they're going in. You know,
Yeah.
everything isn't black and white. That's
Yeah.
cool and everything, but
Yeah.
Well, only Sith deal in absolutes, so.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my perspective, because I'm very different from you guys, because you guys seem to be a lot more into the lore and
Yeah.
probably grew up with the movies a lot more than I did. Like probably honestly, I don't think I actually watched the original trilogy, like sat down and watched it all the way through until like very recently.
Oh, yeah?
After
Oh, man.
after the Force Awakens, like that, I don't really remember watching it as a kid. Just I just remember watching the prequels like in theaters, I think. But yeah, I just never really got into Star Wars that much.
Yeah.
And yeah, just Star Wars in general has just like all the films kind of have it's like basic formula, I guess. Like it's all kind of similar, except for maybe Empire Strikes Back, and this one I think really subverted a lot of expectations and stuff, which is why I like those two films are probably my favorite in the series.
yeah, I mean, I didn't get like super into Star Wars when I was younger. I just remember, liking to watching it, especially when the lightsaber parts came on.
Yeah.
My like the whole since I was young, my whole entire um, reason I loved Star Wars honestly was Luke Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Just that's why I was like another reason why I was disappointed with the movie
Mm-hmm.
was the lack of cool shit that Luke Skywalker did. I mean, I get his whole character arc. I'm not too mad about that. I understand. Maybe the whole weight of expectations of being the great Luke Skywalker, the legendary Luke Skywalker. I can understand that could possibly maybe, affect him, and that's why he did what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it was just the lack of Luke Skywalker waiting 40 effing years, and then all he does is dodge. And then the coolest part to me that Luke Skywalker did was that little like stick fighting thing that he did with Rey in the rain. And then like everything else, he's like, oh, dude, what the heck, man? Because he's supposed to be like the greatest, at least in the legends. He was the greatest Jedi ever, I believe, and the most powerful. And it seemed like they were gonna bring that over here also, into the movies. He's the Last Jedi. He's supposed to have all these amazing powers and everything. I just wish they showcased it a lot more. And
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the reason why they didn't. It's because they want the focus not on Luke Skywalker. They want it on the new characters.
Right.
I get that, but as a fan of Star Wars, I was waiting to see Luke do so much badass shit, dude. I was just so freaking disappointed. I mean, the cool thing that he projected as Force Ghost when he did all that dodging is really cool. Like the thought, the idea of it, but not being able to see him do cool badass shit was just like so disappointing.
Yeah. They definitely could have done more with Luke Skywalker. Like he didn't have to be the focus of the movie, but I do feel like they could have done more with his character because like they showed a very shallow picture of Luke Skywalker's character, right?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't show much. Like he was him, uh, being a hermit like most of the movie, and
Mhm.
then I mean that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like you
Mhm.
didn't really get to see uh very many sides of Luke Skywalker, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I think I was reading an interview with Ryan Johnson. He was contemplating how much of Skywalker to put in, or Luke Skywalker to put in, just because of the reason I stated before. It's because they want
Yeah.
the focus on the other characters,
Yeah.
which, like I said, I get, but I just wanted to see, for my own satisfaction, for my own enjoyment, I wanted to see Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I think that this film probably would have gone over better if it was maybe the last movie in the trilogy.
Sure. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I've
Yeah.
heard too. Yeah.
Because yeah, there's a lot of finality to this movie with
Oh yeah.
like Luke passing away, and
Mhm.
then well, I mean he'll probably come back as a Force ghost, because he just disappeared like Kenobi
Yoda.
did, and
Mhm.
yeah, and Yoda, um, so he'll probably show up in the third one.
Oh yeah, as a
Um,
Force ghost. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, the president, I think, or the CEO, whatever, who's in charge, quote unquote, in charge of Star Wars, said that each film was supposed to be basically like a send off for the original three, and
Mhm.
the third one was supposed to be Leia
For Leia,
with
yeah.
but now Carrie Fisher's dead, so I wonder how they're gonna handle that. And then another
Yeah.
thing is, apparently, when they made the new sequel trilogy,
Mhm.
they didn't plan anything out. They're just winging everything right now. So
Yeah.
like when
Kind
J.J.
of
Abrams,
bizarre.
like wrote, I think he wrote The Force Awakens, right?
Uh,
And in addition to directing it, well, anyway, the direction that they're going is they just made all this stuff without having it lead anywhere,
mhm.
Right.
and that's why Ryan Johnson went in and with his own creative ideas and did what he did, or
Yeah.
they let him do what he did
Interesting.
because they actually did not plan anything out.
Yeah, it's kind of evident that that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, J.J. Abrams is pretty known for that. He likes setting up little mystery boxes for somebody else to solve,
Mm-hmm.
and then like he never solves them himself. Um,
That's funny.
uh, so, so yeah, this film definitely felt more like I guess more like a Ryan Johnson movie more than a Star Wars film, and that was another big reason why I liked it because I loved his filmography before this too, like the Looper and what else did they do? Oh, Brick. Um,
It's actually. Go
oh,
ahead. No, go ahead.
like
I'll talk after this. Yeah.
yeah, like those films also subverted expectations too. So I think that's kind of his calling card. He likes to do that. Um, uh, yeah, I just thought it was like a really interesting direction to take the series, and like for the first time like I'm excited to know like what they'll do next because I don't really have
Yeah. Yeah.
any theories or anything like they could really do
That's
anything at
right.
this point. So
Yeah. I was gonna
yeah.
say. I was looking through Ryan Johnson's filmography
Mhm.
just to see what he had done, and I actually didn't like Looper the first time I watched it, and after I found out that he did Looper, and thinking about how he set up that movie, it does remind me of The Last Jedi, like how The Last Jedi was structured with kind of like all the twists and things like that. So
Mhm.
Oh man,
yeah, that was kind of funny.
speaking of structure, that's what kind of got me too. There was
Oh
like,
yeah,
I mean, I understand that a lot of the time, if you look in a lot of the previous Star Wars movies, there's a lot of jump cuts, right? Go into previous stuff, but to
Mhm.
me, this movie kind of followed suit with Batman vs Superman, where
Mhm.
they would cut to a scene where it just it was a different scene completely, right? And then they would go back to the previous scene, almost right where they left off, and there's just like it was jumping all around with no semblance of why they're doing it. I was watching this YouTube video. I think it's by the Rocket Jump, and they show how A New Hope was actually saved in the edit. So like the original cut of A New Hope was actually pretty bad, and so the editors actually kind of like just edited the scenes to where they actually made sense. So like where in a previous scene they're talking about a certain like subject, and then the next scene like that's on Tatooine would somehow reference that scene from before. But if you watch the original cut, they were like completely separated, and it was just really weird and out of whack. And that's almost how I felt with this movie. It was just there's like way too many cuts and way too many storylines going on that it was a little too much to digest. I don't want to say like too complicated, but just too much to digest.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really get that from the editing. It didn't really feel jumpy or anything like that, because like they had like establishing shots to like when they visit new locations and stuff like that, and going back to the different characters. But I do agree that the film did kind of drag a little bit. Like I think it was a little too long. They could have they could have cut out especially a lot of the like Finn's
dude.
Finn's whole side thing going to that casino. I think that could have been I mean like I like the theme that I was going for of like spreading hope across the galaxy, and about the rich getting richer off war profiteering and stuff like that. That's all like admirable, but yeah, it just felt kind of tacked on. As well as Benicio del Toro's character, I thought he was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. He wasn't even definitely. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, I definitely think Finn's whole adventure on that planet could have been its own movie. Honestly, like there's a lot of material there, and they could have made it its own movie. And like Elliot said, cut down The Last Jedi to be a little shorter, and more focused, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it felt like the director was like he really wanted to focus on Rey and Kylo, and rightfully so, because they're the two most interesting characters in this new trilogy, and he really did that well in my opinion, showing their parallels and like them talking to each other, via the Force and stuff was really cool.
I like that stuff too.
Yeah, I did like the Rey and Kylo Ren stuff. I think it was everything else that was just kind of flat for me. But anyway, I interrupted you, Justin. What were you saying about Finn's adventure?
Did you interrupt me? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, with that whole like with the characters and everything, it's just like it's not that they're not likable. It's just it didn't seem like they had a much. I don't know, character development or just like much to do. Like in the original trilogy, you had Han Solo and Leia, and they had a lot to do. Han Solo was the space bandit guy or whatever, or bounty hunter, not bounty hunter, but space cowboy guy. Just doing whatever. And then we're supposed to get that with Poe Dameron, or with Finn, or like it's just like I don't know what their purpose was in the movie really. It just seemed like Poe's thing was to go against authority. Literally, that's it. He went against Leia, and then he went against what is it, General Holden.
Yeah.
And then I didn't, it's just like, is that all he's meant to do? He didn't even, he was just like standing around the whole time, just, hey, what are we doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Well, I told you this just after we watched it, that I didn't think Finn's character development was any better, because he went and did everything, right? He went to the casinos, he went onto the ship, and all that stuff, but he didn't really have that much of a character development from
Yeah, his
the Force Awakens. Like
Yeah,
at least
like
Poe actually had a story. He didn't do anything, but his character development was still there.
yeah, his character development was just continuing like his hot-headedness or just willingness to like want to get in on the action despite consequences and stuff, which is why he was like put in his place by Leia,
Right.
like being demoted and all that. Yeah, definitely Finn and the new girl like
Rose, yeah.
yeah it felt like they got the short end of the stick, like I was saying, because it seemed like the director wasn't really interested
Yeah,
in
definitely.
in continuing their story, but rather focusing on Kylo and Ren, or sorry, Kylo and Rey. Um,
I
so
said that
yeah,
too.
if
Don't
they
worry
kind
about
of which I understand because there's so many characters he has to juggle, like with the original trilogy characters plus the new trilogy ones. So it's kind of hard to, especially in like a 2 hour movie, to really balance all that. Um, so that's definitely my biggest weak link. Would be just shorthanding Finn and Poe to some
Yeah.
extent.
I mean, I do think Finn could have a lot more going on because his
Mhm.
backstory is actually really interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
he was a war orphan, and
Mhm.
then he got picked up and trained to be a stormtrooper.
Was he an orphan? I
Mhm.
thought he was just taken from his family.
Well, yeah. What wasn't his family killed?
I don't think so.
Is that not right? Man.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't
um,
because I think yeah, I think he was taken from his family.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, like the one.
You're totally right. Yeah,
Sorry.
taken from his family. I mean, I just looked it up. Yeah, he was
Mhm.
taken from his family, not his family's killed. But that's still a whole like, what does it take to become a stormtrooper and stuff like that, right? Like you could go into all that stuff and like why he is how he is versus all the other stormtroopers.
Yeah, and like why he wanted to join the other side. Yeah, that's a really interesting story.
Yeah, right.
That hopefully they go into more. Um, but yeah, probably the best moment for his character was the confrontation with
Asthma.
yeah, Phasma
Dude, that
was
shit was
really cool.
stupid, man.
Uh,
That shit was stupid, man. You know, like in the first movie, she was supposed to be some badass person, and then they just put her in the garbage chute. And then this one, you know, literally Finn hasn't improved much in the ways of combat from the first one, and he's supposed
mhm.
to be able to overtake her. Well, I guess he didn't. He just got lucky because of BB-8. But still, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like I don't know, man. It's just, the whole
I,
Captain Phasma thing is just it was like stupid.
I do feel like Captain Phasma's character was forced, like forced into the first movies. I would say I would agree with Elliot though that I liked their confrontation, and I
Mhm.
thought that action scene was really good.
Yeah,
Um, but at the same time, I'll agree with Justin that Captain Phasma's role in both of these movies was kind of bizarre.
yeah, yeah. She was kind of a pointless character. I mean, I don't know if she was really set up to be like a badass at combat or anything. Like she was just good at shooting things mostly,
Yeah.
from what I remember. So
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know.
from all the advertisements and like promotional stuff
Mhm.
and like information books, she's supposed to be some like top dog in the First Order.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it just sucks that they didn't utilize her well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that was the gripe in the first movie. One of the gripes in the first movie is that they didn't use her well.
Mhm.
That she was just kind of like like a throwaway character, and then we were told that they're gonna improve Captain Phasma's role. The studio actually said that she's gonna have a better role in it, and it's worse than the first one. It seems because she only had like 2 lines or something.
Well, yeah, because she was only in the movie during that
Yeah,
scene. right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the
so it
very
was
end,
like,
basically.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was like stupid as shit, man.
yeah, I could see that.
At the same time, I do love Gwendolyn Christie.
I
She's
don't really
awesome.
know her, but yeah,
She's in Game of Thrones. And
dude. And
Yeah.
then speaking of bad guys, man, freaking Snoke. Uh,
I think I don't know. I have
Yeah,
problems with.
yeah, I'm,
Go ahead, Elliot.
oh,
I'll.
so, no, go ahead, dude. Sorry.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say like I had problems with them not explaining Snoke at all. Like I don't get that. Like in a movie like this, I don't understand why you like wouldn't have any explanation for who Snoke is, what he is, like what his intentions are, things like that. He didn't even have like a motivation. It seemed like so like
Mhm.
I just didn't understand Snoke at all, and like it's just bizarre. I'm all for him like dying the way he did and things like that. Like what happened to him in the movie, I'm fine with. Like that was kind of cool. You actually got to see some of his powers, and that was great, honestly.
Yeah.
But they didn't explain anything about him at all. Like
more so than
absolutely nothing.
yeah, more so than Luke Skywalker, man.
Yeah,
Shit.
you could almost he's like the main antagonist from Force Awakens, and he was presumably the main antagonist for this one. Um, but
Mm,
they didn't. He was almost like a Captain Phasma or Benicio del Toro's character type throwaway character, right? That's kind of what it seemed like.
yeah. Well, I mean, like again, it just goes back into the expectations that
Yeah,
were
yeah,
set up
definitely.
in the Force Awakens. Like everyone expected him again to be like the Emperor character or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like he was really intimidating and sinister.
Oh yeah, I thought he was the limited amounts of things that we got to know about him and see about him. He was awesome. Like he was a great antagonist. But
Mhm. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like I would have liked to have learned more about him.
yeah,
Maybe they still can uh, in the third movie, but
maybe.
definitely I think Kylo Ren is the main antagonist for this whole
Yeah.
trilogy, and rightfully so because he's way more of an interesting character,
Oh yeah,
anyways.
I mean, I like how they revealed that, like, he's basically the big bad. And then I also
Mhm.
liked at the end, like, how they still, even though he's the big baddie, he's still like super vulnerable.
Yeah.
He's still super emotional. Like as soon as he saw Luke, he just like flipped out of his mind.
Yeah, and this goes back to what I was saying kind of earlier about how in the last couple of years I've been getting to anti-hero type things.
Mhm.
Kylo Ren does seem like that kind of anti-hero who, like, he just at his core he's basically just someone who wants to prove himself, right?
Mhm.
And like that kind of comes from being Han Solo's son, training under Luke Skywalker and stuff like that. He just wants to prove himself, really, and like
Right.
in a lot of ways that's not a bad thing. And in a different world, you could see him being a hero versus being a villain.
Mhm. Yeah, because he kind of represents again that main theme of balancing the force, where like once he kills off Snoke, and then he tries to get Rey to join his side to just get rid of like the Jedi and the Sith and just
Mm.
start a new world where like none of that exists anymore,
Yeah,
um, so that there can be balance in the force,
yeah,
and maybe in himself finally,
yeah,
because both of them in this film are struggling with the allure of like the dark side and or choosing the light side. Um, uh, yeah, again, just like that, the whole dynamic between them, I thought was pretty beautifully done.
yeah. No, definitely. Like it does have this struggle with morality, like you're saying, and
Hmm.
that's cool. That's honestly that kind of stuff is really cool. That's the
Mm.
kind of stuff that makes uh, superheroes like Batman really cool, right?
Hmm.
Right, because I mean, like you had Ray, who's supposed to be on the light side, and then when she first taps into the Force, Luke's like, you went straight to the dark side. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna help you. Screw you, bitch."
Yeah.
And then and then on the flip side, um, Kylo Ren is still struggling with his light side.
Hmm.
So yeah, I totally get that.
Mhm.
And then I guess about the story. We talked a great deal about what we liked about the movie. What about the performances, man? That was actually think something everybody can agree on was actually really fantastic almost all around.
Oh yeah, no, I would say like even
Oh,
Benicio del
definitely, yeah.
Toro's character, like we keep saying, was basically non-existent. Gwendolyn Christie's characters, they're not good characters, but the way they portrayed them was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't think
Yeah,
anyone
definitely.
can really uh argue against that.
Mm. I mean, yeah, and then
Yeah,
top.
because like
Okay, dude.
oh, sorry. What was I gonna say? Oh, like Mark Hamill in
Mm-hmm.
particular, I thought that was probably like his best performance that he's ever given.
Mm-hmm.
It was just really like nuanced and just like portraying an embittered hermit
Yeah.
due to his mistakes in training Kylo and all that. And then like his moment with Yoda, I thought was really
Oh
like
man, that was awesome.
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Mark Hamill's
it
like
was it was really
entire yeah his entire performance just like gave me chills almost every time I saw him, dude.
mhm.
I was just like, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker. Even though
Yeah.
he's like wallowing in pity or whatever, and just it whenever he was on screen, dude, it was just like a treat.
It really made you want to see more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, like continue. Sorry.
Uh, yeah, just his moment with Yoda was like beautifully written, and like his reunion with Leia. Yes, same for me, Justin. It gave me chills, and I honestly kind of choked up a bit. Because yeah, they're just really cool to see them back together. And then his final his final sacrifice was really unexpected and pretty badass in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
just using the force to go across the world and then fight against Kylo and then his final death
Mm-hmm.
what was a really cool callback to his first scene of
Oh yeah,
like
the twin
seeing the
sons.
yeah. So I
Oh
thought
yeah.
that was really beautiful too. That's probably one of the biggest strengths of the movie is just like all the action was beautifully shot, and the cinematography was like really incredible. I thought.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I said
I
I think it's a good movie, but like
Mhm.
I like the movie. It's just as a Star
Just
Wars
as a
fan.
Star Wars movie.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
a Star
Mhm.
Wars movie, it's that's where it disappointed me. But I liked the movie itself. You know.
Mhm.
I would say I liked all the performances. I'm not a huge fan of the way it was directed, but um, I feel like the directing could have been a little bit better, specifically with like the cuts. But that kind of goes in editing. But I don't know. So some of the shots that they had were kind of didn't make too much sense to me. I mean, I have to watch the movie again to get a really uh, solid evidence for myself. But I didn't like the directing
Mhm.
too much. But I like like you guys saying, I loved all the performances from everyone, and I think it just a little disagreement for me from the directing point of view.
Mm.
That's just a personal opinion.
Man, we did.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say the weakest um, performance was the General Hux actor. I thought
Dude.
Oh
he,
wait,
he
I
no,
was a
mean,
bit
it's
cartoonish and like kind of hemming it up a bit in my opinion, but
I can't blame him though because that's the way his character was written too. You know.
right.
Because I mean, in
Hmm.
the first movie, he was actually pretty good, and
Yeah.
it's the direction that they went with his character. I think required him to be that way. Like it's the same thing with Luke and Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill did not like the direction that Luke was going, but
Hmm.
he
the
still
what
put
the
in the
director
work.
had, what the director written, what the director wanted, forced him to do that, and he acted the way it's supposed to be. So I can't
Yeah.
blame the actor who played General Hux, It's just that's the way his character was written, which was
I actually thought
sucked.
I thought he did a good job. Actually, I liked General Hux. The person who I had my least favorite performance was actually Vice Admiral Holdo. I actually did not like the way that she performed the part. I mean, maybe it's just the way that she was written too. Like you can kind of make that argument, but in my opinion, it didn't really work. Maybe it was because I didn't feel the sense of authority from her that she was supposed to be giving off. Uh, Maybe it's because I know her from Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
but
she's
I
a
don't know.
paleobotanist, Josh.
I like in my head every single time I saw her on screen, I just saw her feeding the Triceratops. So
I
that
didn't
might have
think,
been what it was. That might have been really biased, but
I didn't think it was that bad. To me, I don't know. I don't think I had too much problem with the performances. Too, yeah, I thought they were all actually pretty good. And my top.
Yeah, I thought.
Go ahead, dude.
Oh, sorry. It keeps like lagging out
Oh,
on
you're
my
fine.
end. So, um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just uh, Hamill and Carrie Fisher in particular, I thought was really great in this film. Just her as her final performance, and I thought they handled that pretty perfectly. I mean, like a lot of people didn't like that whole Superman
Yeah, Mary Poppins
force
thing.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool to see her finally use the force.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
that
what I told
surprised me.
Josh. That's what I told Josh. I actually liked that moment.
Yeah,
I mean, the situation she was in was kind of weird,
Yeah.
but I liked the fact that she was able to use the force.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it comes down to them not really showing a lot of character, like using a lot of characters correctly. I would say, because I would have liked to see a lot more of Leia too. I mean,
Well, I mean, I think she was supposed to have a big part in the ninth. That's why.
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I totally get that too. And like it's kind of what Elliot said too, where they just have a lot of characters to work with and not enough time, I would say. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, because I think originally Ryan Johnson was supposed to write. I don't know if he was supposed to direct number 9 or episode 9 too, but he definitely had a hand in writing 8 and 9. So I think he kind of maybe combined both the scripts and into one film, which is why it might have felt
Oh yeah,
a bit bloated at times. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't supposed to direct 9, but the guy who was originally supposed to direct 9 dropped out, and so J.J. Abrams is doing it now.
Right.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's gonna direct 9 again, or he's
Alright.
gonna direct 9 now.
Okay, I think he's. This is like a personal opinion. I like him better than Ryan Johnson, so we'll see how that goes. Justin, did you have a favorite cast performance?
Mark Hamill, hands down.
Oh, I used that already.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
close, or not. I can't say close second, but my second one would have to be Adam Driver. He has that because he's that he's that teen angsty thing with like that Anakin was supposed to have, but he does it right.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It looks like we lost Elliot there. We'll wait for him to come back, but yeah, that teen angsty or just that angsty vibe with the emotional, whatever that Anakin was supposed to have. Adam Driver seems to do it right.
I mean, I think you can put a child in there and they'd be better than Christian Hayes in acting. But I mean,
I still want to see him though come back.
Anakin Skywalker, or
Yeah, as Anakin Skywalker.
you want to see Hayden Christensen
Hayden
come back?
Christensen, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Just because I mean that's who we grew
that's
up
to
with. So.
associate him. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's fine. Like, I think like you said, Adam Driver is just a much better actor, and he definitely portrays that struggle that I mean most people have when they're going through growing up, right?
Yeah. Are you back, Elliot?
Yeah, sorry, it,
Oh,
I know you're
it
good.
cut out
yeah,
again.
you're fine. No problem, man.
Um, let's see.
So what were you guys talking about? You were talking about Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Adam
still
Driver. So
ever.
Okay. Yeah, I thought his performance was like probably maybe the strongest in the film. It was
yeah, I was telling Josh like hands down, Mark Hamill's my top, and
mhm.
then not even a close second, but just a second top performance is Adam Driver as Kylo Ren to me. And I was telling Josh it's because he had that angsty vibe that Anakin Skywalker in the prequels was supposed to have, but he does it
Mhm.
right. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I would agree. I would agree. Would agree with Justin. Like Mark Hamill's top, and then Adam Driver is a close second.
Yeah, definitely.
all right, you guys have anything else that you wanna chip in before we give our final verdicts?
Uh, I hope that the ninth one is better.
Elliot,
Uh,
any last inputs?
uh, well, obviously, I defer from you guys because
Mm-hmm.
I really love the film. So I'm really excited to see where they take the series, and I'm hoping that JJ doesn't kind of um, just go back on
Mm.
some of the decisions that were made in this. Like
Oh yeah,
I
me
hope he.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I mean now
definitely.
that they've stuck to it, I want to see them continue it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Can't go back to. I was gonna say simple, but
Mhm.
obviously something can be simple and really good. Um, so I'm not gonna say simple, but yeah, they should definitely stick to their guns and keep going in the direction. Like it's exciting. Like what Elliot said earlier, it's exciting to not know what's gonna happen.
all right. So final verdict, Josh. What's your rating? What would you give this movie?
Um, so I mean, despite all its flaws, I really enjoyed it. Um, I would put it probably at around a 50% ish score. Um, which I can't remember what I gave all the other Star Wars movies, but it's probably one of my least favorite, but I still really enjoyed it. Like hands down, it was fun, and that's kind of what I look for in movies now. I try to avoid spoilers and trailers and things like that, just so I can go in and fresh eyes and just enjoy the movie. And that's like I enjoyed it. It was weird, but I enjoyed it. So 50%.
What about you, Elliot? What do you give the Last Jedi?
Uh,
Why'd you give it
I probably
50%? It should be 5 out of 10, Josh.
I don't want to stick to one grading scale, so I'm gonna jump around.
All right, Elliot. Sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, my internet cut out again. So you gave it a 5 out of 10, Josh, and then what?
I give it a 50%.
Yeah. I
What
haven't given
about you,
mine yet.
Justin?
I'm waiting for you, Elliot.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, I would give it a 9 out of 10. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it just really blew me away, honestly.
I can respect that though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it would be I'd say 7.5 or 8. I liked it as a movie.
Mhm.
I mean it did show Luke Skywalker. um but yeah, I mean I did enjoy the movie. Like I said, my gripes are really as a Star Wars fan rather than, movie fan. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was a pretty good movie. And then yeah, so I probably more of an 8 than a 7.5 for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, I think that is it for our review slash discussion about The Last Jedi. I hope we can continue to do these podcasts as life persists.
Yeah.
The reason why we haven't is because I have a kid, so that's been eating up a lot of my time.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Congrats, man.
yeah, we'll try to do this more often, and we'll see what we can do.
All right.
So,
Hey
as
guys.
always, you guys can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at passion4 the geek, or on Facebook. And we actually have been putting up our podcasts on YouTube. thanks to our awesome editor in video, Elliot. Thank you, dude, for all you've been doing for us,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, Elliot. We
Absolutely, man.
appreciate it. And now that you got a new computer, you can actually you won't have to stress out too much about that, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
it's the actual editing part isn't going to be too hard, right?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a breeze from now on and won't
Yeah.
take like 6 hours to render one video. So.
And then I guess plans, upcoming plans that we're planning. We're thinking about doing the MCU watch,
Ooh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll try
We're
to
gonna try to
get
watch one every week.
one a week. We'll try to
Mhm.
do a weekly review on those leading up to Infinity War coming out May
Yeah.
5th, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
May
yep.
5th or May 4th, one of those two. And then me and Josh have been talking. We're gonna, if we can ever get a capture card, like maybe the Elgato, we're gonna try to do some Let's Plays, maybe like once a weekend or something.
Yeah,
So
that'd be awesome.
yeah, just hopefully get more content. And yeah, if you guys enjoy it, like it, subscribe to our channel, and then leave any comments on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, any of all that stuff. And yeah, thank you for joining us, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
thanks,
you.
guys.
All right, later.
See you later.
See ya.